Alright dudes, it's time once again for the Q&A video. It's been a very long time since I did this, but I'm ready to get into this. But before I do that, I just want to give you guys a quick update on the equipment that I ended up going to pick up. I didn't actually get it yet, but when I went to Guitar Center yesterday, I asked you guys what would be a good mic to do metal vocals on. When I went in there, I ended up picking your guys' different opinions. You guys had a bunch of different opinions, but thanks a lot for helping me out with this. What I decided to do was they had a used one of those interfaces by Scarlett. I think it was the 2i2. It was the second generation model. I was going to eventually get into something like that anyway, just so I could eventually, this Line 6 got me to where I'm at now, and I still currently use it a little bit, but yeah, once I get that Scarlett in there, that thing's going to become a kickball. Yeah, we'll be getting rid of that shortly, because that was going to be an upgrade I was going to do anyway. But got into that, and then when I go back to get it, because they have to, just by law, their policy, they have to put it on hold when they bring in used equipment like that, just to make sure that it's, it wasn't stolen or anything like that. So waiting, like, it's a 10-day period for it to clear, no big deal. When I go back, I'm going to get that, and then by then I might get a better mic than what the guy at Guitar Center recommended. But that's that with that stuff. I'm still going to be able to, I'm going to use this Line 6 for another week or two, and then move on to the that other unit. And then also, I am not in the park, obviously. It's raining, it's really shitty outside, it's just pouring rain, it's just miserable out there, it's stupid. So I'm going to just do this Q&A right here, right now. I'm going to pull from one of the videos that when I was out in the park a couple weeks ago, and let's get started. I got some chicken. Actually, I gotta take a bite real quick before I go answering these. Oh, and my neighbor was very, very nice enough to hook me up with this. Never had one of these before. I know all you guys, a lot of you trolls and you haters, you pussies out there think that I'm a juicer. Well, I definitely am a juicer now. I'm a deluxe juicer. I'm about to just be juicing the shit out of my fucking fruits and vegetables. But let's get into first couple questions here. Got like half of these aren't even questions, they're just comments, which is cool. But let's find a question and let's get started with this. Alright, this one's from Caesar Beltran. He's been following my channel for quite a bit. Where do you buy the foam to mute the strings above the nut of the guitar? Honestly, I have no idea. I have one piece that came with a few years back. I ended up buying a BC Rich. It was the Kerry King 7-string Warlock, and that just happened to be on that guitar because the guy that I bought it off of, he was big into recording and things like that. So that guitar was very, very short-lived as far as being in my arsenal. It's like I played it for a little bit. I think I only had it for maybe a few weeks or something, and then I got into something else. I can't remember exactly why I sold it. I mean, it sounded great, it played great, but I just I think something else at that point I was waiting on, and I ended up just getting rid of it. Sometimes I impulse buy. I fall in love with guitars. I love them to death, But yeah, I really don't know. Maybe somebody else can help them out where you get that foam, because I would like to know too, because I do have to get a couple more pieces of it. I actually use I get this from work. This seems to do the trick halfway decent. This is just Velcro that I get from some of the pipe fitters at work, and I just put the other side through there, and it kind of does the same thing. So yeah, wherever you can get maybe some Velcro like that or get that foam. But yeah, I have no idea what to tell you, where to get that or anything. So sorry I couldn't help you out, Caesar. Maybe somebody else can. Next question. Are you much into doom or sludge metal like Acid Bath or Crowbar? I've heard of them a little bit, but I never actually sat down and listened to these bands. Not too much into that. I've just kind of always been just into the death metal stuff. I slowly got into a little bit of black metal, but very, very little amount of that. Like the thrash and the death metal is where it's at for me. And then you guys have seen, I've kind of gone outside of that too, with doing like rock covers and things like that. It's like as I got older, I always liked that kind of music. I always had an appreciation for it and whatnot, but I never actually played it. And then as I started playing more of these songs, kind of got a little more into that kind of stuff too, just as far as jamming it out, just having fun with it, as opposed to just always shredding, because my channel was just, I mean, up to this point, it was like 12 years of just nothing but just fast, heavy, aggressive all the time, and kind of got away from that just a little bit, and that actually helps, you know, get other people finding the channel, the stuff that's a little more popular, people know a little more. If I can get them to start listening to this kind of stuff, that would be great. Get some people into metal, and you know, it's a win-win. It's always trying to get that out there. You know, metal needs to get more of the appreciation and the recognition that it deserves, because it takes a hell of a lot of effort, dedication, and practice to do that, to pull off and perform like this. So next question, what techniques do you incorporate into your songs, and what band did you first learn those techniques from? I pick from all different styles. I mean, there's always, when I write, there's just always a lot of moving parts. I've always been really into just writing technical. I don't know why. It's like sometimes when I'll come up with something that's a little more on the simple side, I try to like make it not so simple. I just kind of do that sometimes. It's like Alex Webster. If you watched some of the video of him that's out there, he said it in one or two videos. I think he said it when they were making the I think Skeletal Domain record. He says that he likes to throw numbers out and like just kind of twist people up and basically make just a bunch of finger spaghetti because it's fun for him. I'm kind of the same way. I think a lot of that comes from when my guitar playing and the skill that I'm at now, as it progressed, it was from a lot of listening to a lot of Cannibal Corpse and playing a lot of Cannibal Corpse. So I kind of developed the same kind of thing that Alex Webster does when he writes. So I'm always trying to do stuff that's a little bit more difficult to perform. I just kind of write that way. But I would say, like, if I would maybe put some bands on it, definitely Origin. They're like early 2000s. Origin is my baby. Like, I've had this conversation with Paul many times, and I've told him, you guys are the band that I wanted to start. If I didn't have the genetics and the dedication and the bodybuilding, if I wasn't good at this, and I wanted to do something else, I'd definitely be playing in a band for sure. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be just as focused and dedicated with being in a band and playing guitar as I am with bodybuilding. I just like having the guitar around just as a hobby, and I get to do this stuff and share it with you guys. But yeah, definitely Origin, Suffocation, a lot of elements of Hate Eternal, Hour of Penance, Sinister. I love, you know, early old school like early 90s Sinister. Slayer has always been a big one, Sepultura. So like those kinds of bands right there, that's like what you'll always hear when I go to write my songs. I put in a lot of that kind of stuff into my writing. And then Jeff Hanneman, as far as the technique, I mean, he was pretty much the first guy I ever laid eyes on when it came time to learn how to play, because I was self-taught. I didn't have anybody to show me. I mean, I had one other buddy who played guitar, but he didn't really practice as much as I did. I just would spend hours and hours playing. Whether I could play the song or not play the song, I just tried to do it. That's what really mattered. Was I actually sat down with the song, and I would just continue to try and do something, whatever technique it was. I mean, I can remember, I think my first tablature book that I ever picked up was Master of Puppets. I bought that book, and I'm sitting there trying to play that song and some of the other songs on there, and like, it's just impossible. Like, at that time, it was just impossible to play that kind of stuff. But as time went on, I just kept trying and trying and trying. You know, I eventually was able to do it. But Jeff Hanneman was the first guy that I ever seen. It was the video Ditto Head. I saw him playing, and I could just see how he was kind of picking from the elbow, just a lot of force, a lot of power just behind playing like this. So I figured that was the way that you had to do it to be able to play that fast, and I kind of, you know, now it's a 26-year habit. I've gotten slightly better where I'm not doing as much of that, because it used to be just all from the elbow, but now it's kind of 50-50. You know, eventually this kind starts to tire out stuff, but I continue to push through it. Luckily, I got a lot of endurance from, you know, all the years of training and stuff like that, and I'm able to, you know, continue to move through that. So let's move on to the next question. Have you ever been to a Slipknot concert? Actually, I did back in August. I think it was August 12th, was it? At DTE, you know, here north of Detroit. That was the first time I ever seen Slipknot, and actually that was very short notice, because when I was at the gym, my buddy, he's a big metalhead. He's big into Slayer. I actually, first time I ever went to Slayer was with my buddy, and this particular guy, and his wife was gonna go with him to Slipknot. It was the very next day, so it was a Sunday that I ran into them, and like she wanted to go there for Volbeat. She's not into the the crazy aggressive, like she's seen Slipknot already anyway, but like Behemoth and stuff like that wasn't her cup of tea. Gojira, and she really wanted me to go. And she was willing to give up her ticket to me, so that's how I ended up squeezing into that one. And then at the last minute, I decided to go full corpse paint, and that was a lot of fun. I had a blast. That was such a good time. But Behemoth still, for me, stole the show. I just love Behemoth to death. Okay, next question. Let's move on. Who would be your favorite death metal band? Early 2000s origin, for sure. The second album, first album's pretty cool too, but I really love that second album, and then third album's pretty good too. That's where it started to get, a lot more chaotic with the arpeggios and stuff like that. Just how nasty Paul Ryan and Jeremy Turner and who else was? Clint was playing guitar on that Echoes of Decimation album, but just the down picking and the chunks and the chugs and just ridiculously fast and heavy. That's the kind of sound I like. Suffocation is right up there with them too. They just have that kind of style that I just can't get enough of. So those two right there are at the top of my list. All right, next question. What is your favorite tempo to practice to? I mean, I don't practice with that metronome as much as I should. But when I do, like actually I was just jamming earlier, it's I'm all sweated up and stuff, so I'm gonna actually, I got a video editing right now, just me just playing around with different riffs that I was coming up with. I was practicing a lot of my my gallops and my down picking and stuff like that. I did finally put some new strings on my BC Rich, so I've been kind of breaking them in. But I was practicing at 150, I think, but it sounded a lot faster than that when you got that click track going. But yeah, that's what I was practicing earlier. And let's see, you had some more questions to go with this. This is Jonathan. I don't know your last name, so I don't want to mess it up, so we'll just leave it at that. What guitar tuning do you play in most of the time? That guitar, that's still my go-to guitar, that BC Rich Kerry King V. And I love that guitar to pieces. It's just like I said, the Washburn, I've said this in the past, that Washburn that I picked up, that Solar, the Ola England model, that's still the most comfortable flying V, most comfortable guitar I really ever played. Just the way it's cut out and that matte finish and everything. Still very comfortable, but when it comes to the sound, just the overall, like if we're, if we have to put everything together and you got to make a decision, you got a gun to my head, which guitar are you going to go with? I'm going to go with the BC Rich. And yeah, that guitar was such a good pickup, because ever since I bought that guitar, I actually bought it after I went to see Slayer for the first time. Never had an interest in that guitar really, didn't think it was all that special. Didn't really like the finish on it. And then when I saw Kerry, because I was front row, right behind the rails, like we were right up at the front watching them, and I just see Kerry ripping on this guitar, and I'm like, I think I gotta pick one of those up. So yeah, I mean, after that show was over with, I started looking around. I found one on Reverb and contacted the guy, and he sent it to me. I got a really good, I think I got it for $450 shipped. It was a good deal. And that guitar, that was such a good pickup, because ever since then, just out of curiosity, I'll look every now and then. You'll find the cheap ones, like the ones that are bolt-on neck and things like that. That one's a neck through, and it's mahogany. It's built like a tank. That thing's sweet. But that was such a good purchase. I'm glad I have that guitar, and that one's not going anywhere. That guitar is sick. So I just went up to the top. Now I got to find where I left off at. Damn, Jonathan had 4 questions in this, but I'll keep going, man. That's what this is all about. This is a Q&A. When you make your new songs, do you come up with the drums first? No, I come up with the riffs first, but as I'm writing the riffs, I already have drum patterns and fills and things like that, where the double bass, the blast beats, all that are going on, or the, like the groove tempos. I have all that already kind of mapped out in my head as I'm writing these riffs. So when I go to do them and make the MIDI tracks, I already got a head start on that. I've tried doing it backwards. I actually want to try that and see what I can come up with. Like just random drums first and like just see if I can play some riffs over it. I think that'd be pretty fun. Be a different challenge. His next question is, or the ideas come in while you jam. Yeah, like I just said, it's as I'm jamming, I'm already coming up with drum patterns. So yeah, that's already fulfilled as I'm writing and coming up with different riff ideas. And this is from Blake Curtis. He asks, if I sent you some drum tracks, not programmed drums, would you be down to make some noise? Like I was just saying, that is really cool. Dude, I would love to do that, bro. My email is kfrasard@gmail.com. Hit me up and let me know it's you and send me whatever you come up with and I'll give you a shout out, all that stuff, man. I'll definitely write some riffs over what you got. That is really cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. God, that would be fun. Yeah, we're going to do that. Are you ever going to get a whammy bar for your BC Rich Kerry King V with the Kaler? I don't know. Like, it's just kind of one of those things I don't really care about really right now. I never really had too much experience with a Kaler. I was always, like if I did get Floyd Roses, or if I got floating tremolo bridges, it was always a Floyd Rose. So do you hunt as well? Yes, I do. I took a little bit of a break when I'll eventually tell you guys this whole story of how I ended up in the situation that I'm at now. But, you know, to make a long story short, I didn't hunt for it was probably 4 years or something like that. And I did go hunting with my cousins back in 2015, but between that and 2012 was the last time I hunted. And that was with my dad and my cousin Joey. And we did really well that year. And then it was a few years that we took a break, and my dad and I weren't talking, but we did end up patching up thanks to my YouTube is what brought us together. But like I said, I'll explain that in further detail at some other point, because that's just that kind of touches me a little bit, like having to go into that, because yeah, it has a lot to do with just conflict between like the other half of my parents that I don't talk to anymore. But yeah, that'd be at a different time. So let's move on. Gotta keep this smile. Don't think about that bullshit that happened in the past. Caesar, once again, are you gonna get another 7-string? If so, what tuning are you gonna set it up in? I keep eyeballing that new Solar on Solar's website. They got that one 7-string on there. It's got like the transparent black finish, but it's got an Evertune bridge on it. I've never tried one before, but I hear they cause a lot of vibration and excess noise that will actually even come through the amplifier. I don't know how much it does that, so I would like to find one if they make a model available that has like a Tune-o-matic bridge, or even a Floyd Rose, like original Floyd Rose. That'd be something I'd consider. But if I were to pick a 7-string that I would love to have, and most people know this, actually the guy from Christian has it, the guitar player for Christian has it, 7-string BC Rich with a Beast headstock, and I think he's either got the Junior V or the Speed V. I like the Speed V body style a lot better than I like the Junior V. So it would definitely be, if I were to build my dream guitar from, it would be BC Rich. I just love BC Rich guitars. Be a 7-string V, Beast headstock, but I would make it to where it has the headstock like Pat O'Brien has, where it's almost like the Beast Widow or Widow Beast headstock, where it's got that little extra point in the center. Thing looks mean as hell. That guitar, Speed V body, I'd put a Floyd Rose on there, an original Floyd. I don't get too carried away with binding and things like that. I don't really need all that. I'd throw EMG 81 in the bridge and probably an 85 or an 89 in the neck. And if I could, I would have it to, I think it's like the booster, whatever the name is for it, that is in my Kerry King V. It has that signature pair of pickups, but it's like a 20 decibel booster. just to give it a little more thickness, a little more balls. So I would definitely go with one of those if I were to pick one. Or have them build just some kind of just nightmarish looking guitar. I would build the most aggressive, meanest looking guitar you ever seen in your life. That's what I love about BC Rich, because they look like weapons. They look like something you would just take and just like right in the side of somebody's throat. You know, if they piss you off. I just love BC Rich guitars. It just looks like some Viking shit, and I'm totally into that. And I'm hoping BC Rich, I was going to make a video on BC Rich because they're supposed to launch their new website. That was supposed to be like 5-6 weeks ago, and it's been cricket. I haven't heard nothing. I haven't seen nothing new. I was getting excited. Some of the models that were coming out, they were a little bit pricier, just based because like the models that they were going to release first of all when they launched was like their 50th anniversary models. So those ones were a little more higher end, even though they were import from Korea. But they were nice looking guitars. They did get a little carried away with the abalone, the binding and stuff like that, which I don't mind it too much, but I mean, like, every guitar had it. I want to see what other lineup they have as part of their catalog, but they still have not launched their website. And I would love to be endorsed by BC Rich. Like, when they launch their website, I want to ask them, I want to see what I can do to possibly, you know, be a part of their roster. Even if I was never endorsed by BC Rich or anything like that, I definitely would pimp and push their product because I love their guitars that much. I mean, most of my best guitars were always BC Rich's. All the ones that I've owned in the past, from, you know, now to going back to as far as I want to say like 2003, 4, like around there. All the BC Rich guitars I absolutely love. They were sick. They were awesome. I think I got every question answered in this one, so I'm going to move on to the next video that I told you guys to ask your questions, in the subscriber video. So let's get in here and let's see what we got. I haven't looked at anything in here yet, so let's just see. I like to shoot from the hip, you know, none of this pre-planned garbage. I like to be, you know, 100% authentic with you guys. Like, it's the first time I'm reading through these. Caesar again, man, you're all over this. If you had the chance to have another 7-string, what would it be and what tuning? Yeah, like I said, it would be one of those BC Rich 7-strings with that beast headstock, but in Pat O'Brien style. It would be a Speed V, blah blah blah. So yeah, neck through, mahogany. Tuning, I would set it up in. I would probably do that one in A standard. I've always primarily wrote most of my stuff in A standard. Some of my best writing has been in A standard. Sometimes I come up with stuff in drop G, but not as often as I thought I would. Excuse me. So yeah, it would be set up in A standard. Let's go to the next question. This guy, the Bear, he says get a Patreon page. You know, I was considered doing that. I got to look into it more because I'm not quite ready to get into doing a Patreon or anything, because I gotta have perks. I gotta have stuff according to what I'm reading. I gotta have, you know, stuff that to have available to you guys to make it worth your while. Because I don't want to just, you know, start up the page and give me money kind of thing. No, I want to be able to give back to you guys, like whatever that might be. I got all kinds of ideas going on that I'm working on. So yeah, once I get that solidified and figure out what I want to do with that, then you might in the future see a Patreon page. But as of right now, not just yet. I got some other things that I want to work on and accomplish first. Alright, this one's pretty good. Caesar, again, how and when did you learn how to sweep pick? That was listening to a lot of Dying Fetus. The first time I saw them. And I didn't even know about the technique until I actually saw them playing live. That was the first death metal show I went to. That was down in Detroit. That was it Bloodletting North America? No, maybe it wasn't. I know it was Misery Index, this local band Mutilated that we shared a practice room with when I was in Gut Rot, when I was playing guitar for them for about a year, a little over a year. So it was local band Mutilated, awesome. Misery Index, awesome. Skinless, awesome. Let's see who else was on it. Divine Empire. They were freaking amazing. Too bad that they're not still around. Actually, J.P. Soares, the guitar player, he started his own blues projects. He was always in the blues, and he's actually really, really freaking good. You guys got to check him out. I think it's J.P. Soares and the Red Hots. I can't remember what the other band or two bands that he's in. I forget what the name of them, but they write some really, really good stuff. Check them out. So yeah, if you just type in J.P. Soares, yeah, definitely look them up if you're into blues and that kind of stuff. Besides metal, really, really good stuff. And then obviously the headliner was Dying Fetus. That was the first time I ever seen all that sweeping, and I got interested in that technique because it sounded, it looked awesome. And then I just started kind of dabbling a little bit with that. I'm not very good at it. It's hit or miss. I don't practice that technique as much as I used to. For a while there, it started to get a little overdone, and like now you hear that so much in a lot of the tech death bands to where it's just it becomes too much. Like too much of anything's bad. So a lot of these tech death bands that are coming out now, they're doing that kind of shit way too much, in my opinion. So I just kind of lose interest from it, and these days I might throw an occasional arpeggio, sweep, whatever you want to call it, throw one or two in a song, but it's I don't make it like too much of a focal point when I'm writing. If it happens, it happens. This road outside my door is freaking, there's always people honking at each other, speeding down here, almost getting into accidents. It's insane. Okay, this is a good question because I actually just wrapped this this video up. So how is the collab with Jason Stallworth gonna work? What I did was he sent over the actual track of him playing his parts, his riffs, and then he's got the drums and everything playing over it, and then there's bare spots with just the drums where my parts come in, stuff that I wanted to incorporate and come up with, and that's what I ended up recording over in those spots. And I covered that, sent it back to him, got a couple different camera angles for that, sent it back to him, and he should be working on that video as we speak. It should be up within the next couple of days, so definitely look out for that video. He came up with some great stuff too, man. He writes some really, really cool thrash. Definitely check his channel out if you guys haven't. Jason Stallworth, guy's awesome. And he says your music is more brutal and his music is more melodic. I did incorporate some melody. You could probably say you hear a little bit of like, I'd say like Iron Maiden, Motorhead maybe-ish kind of riffs. Definitely some Slayer, because Slayer's a big part of my writing. You'll hear that on that track. Because what we were going to originally do, it was going to be like a thrash slash like death metal kind of song. But when just the way the drum track plays out, the tempo and the type of drums that it is, I knew it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to sound right if I tried doing any kind of death metal kind of riffs on it. So I kept it like in the more thrash metal element and bringing some melody to it. What I came up with, I think, is pretty cool. I think you guys will like it a lot. I threw some of my little technicality parts in there. That's just because how I write. I'm like Alex Webster. I just like fucking with numbers, like he says. So yeah, you'll see some of that on there. How are you guys gonna work together to make a song when the styles that you guys play are somewhat different? You'll see. Actually, the riffs I came up with complement his really well. You'll see when you listen to it. Obviously, his recording. Damn, I caught that piece of chicken. You'll see when you hear it. A lot of the riffs that I came up with complement his very, very well, and I made sure of that when I wrote it. It didn't take too long to come up with stuff. Usually, I tend to be a pretty good riff library when I'm coming up with things. And we ended up gelling really well together, what he sent over and then what I was able to incorporate with that. So I think you guys will like it a lot. Is that a Diesel Brothers skull in the window? I got that skull actually because when I got the truck, I'm like, man, I got to put something that just really, really represents and like what I stand for kind of thing. It usually did have a pair of dumbbells as the crossbones. I found that on, I was just like Googling bodybuilding window decals, and that one came up. It just had this big skull with the dumbbell crossbones. I was like, that's freaking cool, and like, you know, people are gonna know that that's my truck when I put that on there. And that really represented me, because yeah, I'm gonna be bodybuilding until they bury me into the ground. Like, I'm never gonna stop lifting. So yeah, I threw that on the window, rolled with that for a while, and then eventually, I don't know if you guys can see in the video, but those dumbbells aren't there anymore, because I had to make room for, if you guys saw my video, I bought a bunch of like metal decals, and I wanted to put those on there. And then as I was putting them on there, I'm like, there's this way too much shit going on this back window. So I took those dumbbells off of there, and now it looks a lot better. So yeah, I ended up removing those dumbbell crossbones, or whatever you want to call them, and it looks better with that now. So next question: where was the photo for the thumbnail taken at? That was at that Slipknot, the Knotfest show at DTE, and I ended up running into our buddy Dave and his buddy, and we wanted to get a photo real quick before we had to go take a piss, because we were drinking a little bit, having a good time. And yeah, met up with them, and he ended up getting one of Inferno's drumsticks, lucky bastard. And my buddy Dan was trying to convince him, dude, give that to Kev, you got so much stuff from concerts, this and that. And yeah, he didn't want to give it up, and I understand, it's cool. Like, when you get that kind of stuff, you don't want to give that to other people. I mean, like, he's got all kinds of like guitar picks from Hanneman, Kerry King. He's got Gary Holt, just all these different shows that he's gone to. He's got so much shit, it's not even funny, and he holds on to everything, which is cool. I mean, I don't expect him to give me anything. Yeah, he can hold on to that. That's really cool. It was cool to see that he ended up getting a drumstick from Inferno. This guy's talking about the Black Star amp. Yeah, I freaking love those amps. When my buddy and I jammed at Guitar Center a couple of times, they had those in the practice rooms, and those things just, man, they sound mean. Like, when I plugged in, I'm like, holy shit, this thing sounds like it's pissed. And a lot of clarity too out of this amp. I can't remember exactly what model it was, but I want one. I really want one. And let's move on to the next question, as I fiddle through here to find the next one. Take a swig of this stuff. Yeah, I want to read this one. It's from Alex Miller. This isn't a question, but I want to read this back, because I get a lot of comments like this all the time. I've gotten personal messages from a lot of you guys on my Instagram just about all the years that I've been bodybuilding and busting my ass, and you guys have seen a lot of those training videos that it's all or nothing when I go in there. 100% focus. I don't give a shit what's going on around me. I'm there to do work. I'm there to succeed and make myself better than I was when before I got in there. And it's always been that way. It's never going to change. This one says, no, thank you. You helped me change my life for the better. I started watching your videos for more than a month, and at that point I was extremely skinny, and I almost always was tired from any activity. I exercised, but not enough. I always wanted to go to the gym, but I was intimidated by it. Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people, actually. I mean, I can understand, because I was when I first started too. You know, because you got all these other people that go there all the time, and then it's a lot like walking into a bar. Like, everybody's looking at you, who's the new fish? It's kind of that way. After a couple weeks of watching your gym videos, it encouraged me to know more about good health. I started to read Body for Life by Bill Phillips, and you both helped me break through. I thought to myself one night, I am going to do this. I started to eat right and made sure I had enough vitamins. I signed up at Planet Fitness and have been working out for about 3 weeks. I feel great. I have more energy. I feel more determined. Thank you, Kevin, for helping me change my life. That's really cool. I appreciate you sending me all this. It's really good that, you know, you're able to make a difference and make a change in your life. Yeah, I love reading this kind of stuff. I mean, it's great that you guys are getting stuff out of this channel, like things that I post and that I've been posting since 2006 when I first started my channel. Nah, keep it up, man. Just keep going. Keep taking care of your body, because you only get to do this one time. You got to protect it. You got to take care of it. So make sure that you just keep eating good and keep going to the gym, and the results will keep happening. You'll eventually hit plateaus, but you break right through them. And stay off the phone. That's how people look the same every week. Let's see here. I think that's going to wrap it up for the questions. I don't see any more on here. So this video is probably pretty damn long. I'm glad I have it on the other setting, because the memory would have been insane. It would have took forever to upload on here. But yep, we're going to cut the video right here. We're going to be done with it. I appreciate you guys watching as always. There's more stuff on the way. Like I always say, thank you so much for watching everything that I put out on this channel. If I have anything to add before I close this video, like I told you, the new recording equipment, that's on the way. The microphone, I still got to decide exactly which one I want to get. I was recommended an AKG P120. I don't think that one is handheld, because I want to do a handheld. I really want to do that. I think it would bring a lot more aggression to when I do the vocal covers, as opposed to it being on a stand in a fixed position and just like growling into it. I don't think I could get into that too much. I like to move when I get into my music, like when I do my covers. Sometimes, you know, if I do like the rock covers and things like that, it's just the kind of music I'm playing. It depends what I'm playing. That will dictate how much movement or how much aggression I put forth into my covers. But it's kind of funny when I do my covers, when I do you know, my death metal covers, or you guys have been seeing, I've done a ton of Slipknot covers. I mean, Slipknot is like the big thing right now. So I've done a lot of Slipknot covers. But yeah, it's like before I come in here and do my thing with these covers, it's like I'll have me a couple cups of coffee, and it's like I walk in here like I'm about ready to deadlift, or like I'm gonna squat or something. It's like I just get into this frame of mind, like let's freaking go, let's do this. And I have a blast making these videos. It's so much fun. I just attack it. You know, I fully attack it when I do these aggressive covers like that. But anything else that I can add to it? Let's see, the recording, I covered that. Bass guitar, I mentioned. I eventually down the road want to get a bass guitar. I was looking at one that's like Tom Araya, what he plays. That I think that one's an ESP. It's the Forest model. I like that bass. I kind of thought about getting a 5-string bass just to add an extra layer, because I notice like clear as day when I do my covers, or when I do the songs that I'm writing and I'm coming up with. You could tell that bass guitar is missing. It just doesn't have the same girth, the same thickness, the same kind of balls that a bass guitar or bass passages would have to it. It's just that extra layer that's missing. I want that in my songs when I go to do my stuff, or when I do the cover songs. Now, I might not be able to cover or follow a lot of the stuff that I write on the guitar, but you know, it'll be fun for me. I mean, I don't have to play it note for note, but I will try. And I'll probably, you know, I'm going to try with doing fingerstyle for a while, but for a little bit I'll probably have to incorporate using a pick, is what it is. But yeah, just to get the feel, it'd be cool to have a bass guitar, just, you know, that extra instrument to add to things. Let's see what else. T-shirts I told you guys about. I got a couple ideas. I'm going to start small, start with a couple designs. I'm not going to leave anybody out. We're going to cover bodybuilding. We're going to cover bodybuilding and music and metal, and we're going to cover just metal. So I want to make sure, because not all you guys are into bodybuilding or working out. I get that. Other people are just into metal, or they are into both. I just want to make sure that I have something to offer everybody when I go to make these designs. And some of the ones that I have, the ideas that I'm coming up with, I think you guys will like a lot. I mean, yeah, I think you guys will like what I come up with. So we're going to cut this video here. I appreciate you guys watching. You guys take it easy, subscribe, share, and have a good one.